The next morning I did something I had been terrified to do since I found out about Emily. I searched for public records. I searched for any indication that Marcus had fathered a child. And I found her, a daughter named Sophie, born 19 years ago. Her mother's name was Rachel Morrison. They had never married, but they had a legal agreement, child support, visitation rights, all of it. There were records. There was evidence. There was an entire human being that my husband had created, and I had never known she existed. I found Rachel on Facebook. She had a public profile, which made it almost too easy. She was in her early 40s with dark hair and kind eyes, and there were photographs of her with a young woman who had Marcus's smile. Sophie, my husband's daughter, my husband's secret. I didn't reach out to her. I wasn't ready for that. Instead, I hired a private investigator. I know that sounds extreme, but I had to understand. I had to know everything. I had to piece together the life that my husband had been living that I didn't know about. And what the investigator found was both heartbreaking and clarifying. Marcus had been in a relationship with Rachel in college. They had gotten pregnant. Rachel decided she wanted to keep the baby, but she didn't want Marcus's involvement in a romantic sense. So they had worked out an arrangement. He would be financially responsible for Sophie, and he would have visitation rights, but he would not have custody. He would not have decision-making power. He would essentially be a supporting father figure, but nothing more. And Marcus had agreed to this. He had accepted these terms. And then he had met me. He had met me 2 years after Sophie was born, and he had decided not to tell me about his daughter. I don't know why he made that choice. I will never know why he decided to hide such a fundamental part of himself from the person he was supposed to spend the rest of his life with. The investigator said it was probably shame. Maybe he was embarrassed about the circumstances of Sophie's conception. Maybe he was worried that I would judge him for it. Maybe he was trying to compartmentalize his life in a way that made it easier to live with the choices he had made. But none of that mattered now. None of that changed the fact that he had lied to me. He had lied every single day that we were together. Every time I asked him if he wanted kids and he said no, he was lying. Every time I said that I loved how simple our life was, just the two of us, he was lying. Every moment of intimacy, every conversation, every plan we made for the future. It was all built on a foundation of deception. And Emily had known. Emily had been the keeper of his secrets. Emily had been the person he trusted with the truth about who he really was. And I had been kept in the dark. I had been the wife, the one who was supposed to know him completely, and I had been the last to know anything real about him. I made an appointment with a therapist. I needed to talk to someone, and I didn't know how else to process what I was feeling. The therapist asked me what I was most angry about: the affair, the daughter, or the fact that Marcus had died before I could confront him about any of it. And I realized that I was angry about all of it. But underneath the anger was something else. Underneath the betrayal and the deception and the lies was a deep, aching sadness. Because I had lost my husband without ever really knowing him. And the person he had chosen to confide in had been someone else. 3 months after I found out about Sophie, I received a letter in the mail. It was handwritten, and it was addressed to me. I almost didn't open it. My hands were shaking so badly that I could barely tear open the envelope. And when I pulled out the letter, I saw that it was from Sophie. "Dear Mrs. Marcus," it began, which somehow made me want to cry. She didn't know my first name. She didn't know anything about me except that I had been married to her father. "I'm Sophie. I'm Marcus's daughter. I know you probably didn't know I existed, and I'm sorry about that. My dad was complicated. He was trying to do the right thing by everyone, and I think that sometimes meant he made choices that weren't entirely honest. But he loved me, and I think, based on what my mom has told me, that he loved you too. He was just trapped between two worlds, and he didn't know how to bridge the gap between them." The letter went on to explain that Sophie had written down some things about Marcus, stories about him, memories. She said that she thought I deserved to know who her father was, even if he had kept her a secret from me. She said that she didn't expect me to want a relationship with her, but that she wanted me to know that she existed, that she mattered, that she was a part of Marcus's story, even if he had never told me about her. I called her. I do not know what I was expecting when I dialed the number she had included in the letter. Maybe I was expecting to feel angry. Maybe I was expecting to feel nothing. But when I heard her voice, and it sounded so much like Marcus's voice, something shifted inside of me. She was real. She was a person. She was not responsible for any of the lies my husband had told me. She was just someone who had been as deceived as I had been, in a different way. She had been hidden. She had been kept secret. She had been treated like something to be ashamed of. "I've been so angry at your father," I told her, my voice breaking, "for lying to me, for not telling me about you." "I know," Sophie said quietly, "and I think he was angry at himself too. That's what Emily told me anyway. Before Dad died, he was trying to fix things. He was trying to tell you about me. He was trying to end things with Emily because he realized that the life he was living was destroying everyone. You, me, Emily, all of us. He was having a breakdown at work. Emily said he had been crying in his office. He was going to come clean about all of it.